Hi, my name is Deja Miles. I graduated from Washington University in 2001 with a joint degree in a master's in business administration and a master's of public health from the Brown School. I presently work for AbbVie as a commercial leadership program member, and I've been with the company 4 years in 2025. The master's of public health degree was vital. Initially, I wanted to pursue a career working in public health, specifically focused on the most vulnerable populations. When the opportunity at AbbVie arose, it was great because I was able to impact people on a global scale, but that did not mean that my master's in public health would not be utilized. Specializing in epidemiology and biostatistics is directly used in my everyday, day to day work. All of our HUR analyses have to be, we use biostatistics for that. And we have to be able to clearly understand the information that's being presented, the manner it's being presented, and then the most vulnerable populations. And so that is why ultimately the master's in public health, it helped me refine my confidence. It helped me kind of lean into where my natural interests were. And yeah, I definitely get to help people every single day. Volunteering at the Brown School is huge. I think personally, as a St. Louis native, I always cherish the relationships that we had with WashU. So once I graduated, I knew I wanted to keep that very strong foundational relationship, even as I transitioned out of the region to Chicago. And so it was really important to me to kind of foster those relationships, ensure that we are looking at the St. Louis community as an opportunity to give back every single day, understand that that we're people, and it's exceedingly important to make sure that we're prioritizing the immediate community surrounding Brown School and surrounding Washington University in St. Louis. And so, yeah, when giving back every single day, hopefully someone sees someone like me and they're like, hey, I can do it. I also think it's exceedingly important to understand how our graduates are interacting with our peers, like in the workforce, in the world. So some of my peers work in public health and some work for the CDC, are going to work for the federal government, working on policy. Some work in healthcare in the hospital system, and then some are in pharmaceuticals like me. And it's very interesting and easy to stay connected to the Brown School to be able to facilitate those connections with current students and alum has been super important to me. So happy to volunteer and be here every day. If I think about Brown School and a 100-year legacy, I think about the rich inheritance that we have, and all of the people that have matriculated in and out of the institution and the work that they're doing both at BJC, at Washington University regionally, and across the nation and across the world. Brown School really set a foundational knowledge in terms of educationally for me. And then, everyday, day to day, as we think about it from a pharmaceutical landscape, we're just ensuring that our patients are getting the medications that they need with the health outcomes that they're desiring, and then having a better quality of life. And if we think about public health and we think about Brown School, period, essentially that's what we do, whether we're a social worker or we're working in the field of public health. We're really trying to find ways to improve any person's quality of life. And I think every individual who comes through this institution can really truly appreciate that process, and then keep that small piece with them as they enter the workforce. First, I would say you can do it. You'll make mistakes, and that's okay. We all do. When you make the mistake, hold your head high, go back in and do it way better next time. I wish I had told myself that when I started in my current role and when I started at the Brown School. I think being vulnerable and being willing to learn, it will require that you make the mistake, that you say the wrong thing. But when you're corrected, that you take the correction and then you immediately implement. I think the future of the Brown School is interesting. AI, tech is kind of driving the world, to be quite honest. But I think what we have to remember is the humanistic component associated with being a social worker and when we're dealing with public health. So, as an example, as we think about biostatistics, we can look at a region and we can say, all right, we're going to look at this model and we're going to create a model to get a potential better health outcome. But if we're only looking at a marginalized population or we're only looking at a more affluent population, then we're not getting an accurate picture of what society is truly like. And I think the humanistic component is going to ultimately be what tie the strings together. People that can easily connect with others, people that can take correction but also give correction, people that can be agile enough to understand the changing landscape of the world from a tech standpoint, but also be able to have the human connectivity. I think ultimately those are going to be the people that are our leaders and they're going to thrive. There's always job security in humanity because until we're extinct, there is job security. So I think the skills that are going to be garnered at the Brown School over the next 100 years are going to be more crucial than ever to make sure that we're creating a society in which people are kind, considerate, inclusive, and exhibit love, to be quite honest. I'd like to shout out Amber Brown at the Career Center. She was one of my absolute favorites. I'd also like to shout out the Evaluation Center. I worked there for 2 years while I was pursuing my master's in public health, and they helped teach me everything from chunking to understanding IRB guidelines. Um, I garnered a ton of experience that I still use every single day from evaluative standpoint, and then also from understanding how we're looking at grants. And so shout out to the entire center, everyone that's still there. And then I also want to shout out Mary. Mary was my dean. Um, she may or may not remember me, but Mary was a huge part of my development. She invited students to her house sometimes. And I think as we consider the future deans of Brown School, we need to consider some of those elements uh, of just making students feel especially special. So shout out to those.